Welcome friends to my kitchen. Bem-vindos à minha cozinha. What am I making today? Well, I was thinking, I took some meat out of my freezer. I thought it was pork chops, but it comes to be pork loin. So I'm gonna make bifanas. I already had all this ready for bifanas, so that's where we're gonna make it. I buy the big pork loin at Costco, and then I cut it, and then I put it in ziploc bags and put it in my freezer. And when I thought I was taking pork chops, thin pork chops, and it was pork loin. But anyway, that's fine. I have a customer that requested a meal today, so I'm making them a meal today. It's a friend of mine. So, change of plans. So in here I have probably about 10 pork loins, and I already tenderized them, which I went with my mallet and tenderized them so they're ready to go. I actually usually use these for, it's called pork schnitzel, which is a recipe, a German recipe, but this will work. She'll be surprised, instead of pork chops, she's gonna have bifanas. I have here probably about 6 or 7 garlic cloves, and I'm using my zester to zest them real fine so I can get as much flavor from the short amount of time. Being I usually make bifanas, I usually like to marinate it the day before or a little bit longer, but this will work. So that's why I use the zester. This is a very easy recipe and delicious. Mom used to make this quite often, but the memory that I have most vivid in my mind is during the matanzas, when we killed the pigs. This is bell pepper sauce. I usually put this more for the color because it has no spice. And then I have here some malagueta that I made. This is a little spicy, so I'm just going to put about a teaspoon of that. And then I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. I usually don't, but I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. And some red wine. I use burgundy because it's not as sweet as, I can't do this when I use my hands. It's not as sweet as some other ones. So you kind of just want to roll all this meat in that sauce. And the garlic and the pepper, and then I'm gonna let this marinate for maybe an hour. Like I said, I usually like to marinate it longer, but this will be fine. I'm gonna keep it in my fridge and marinate it for an hour. So anyway, and then I'll show you. Friends, it's been a couple hours and I'm ready to make my bifanas. So I'm making this like my mom used to make, and this is, I always make my bifanas. Everybody makes it different. I put a frying pan in here with no oil, and you want it super hot. And you kind of just want to sear that meat. And what it does is it seals all the juices inside the meat, so the meat doesn't stay dry. So you do this a couple at a time, and like I said, you want that pan super hot. And then it comes out like this, and you put it aside. And it might even have some little bit of water that accumulates in a frying pan, and just pour it in there. Don't waste that water. That's flavor for your sauce. My mom used to make all the time the beef like this. We didn't just went from here to oil and fry it. We never did that. We just made it always like this, no matter what kind of beef it were. Could have been pork, could have made done with beef, or could even do, she would do with liver. She would do the same thing using liver, and this is how she did it. And every time I make bifanas or beefs, we call them beefs. They're not made out of beef. This is pork. This is one thing that when I came over here, that was, everybody would say, why do you say if it's beef, beef if it's pork? Well, that's what my mom called them, was beef. I don't know why they call them beef, but that's what it is. So I'm gonna sear all this, and then I'm gonna put some olive oil in here, some oil, and a little bit of butter, and we're gonna fry them. They're not done. They go to second coating, a second frying. And like I said, I beef these. This is the pork loin. I buy the big pork loin at Costco. I slice them very thin as possible. And then I go with my mallet and I beat them on both sides. It kind of tenderizes them. So, anyway, my friend's gonna be surprised because she was expecting pork chops, and she's gonna get something else. But this is a crowd pleaser every time. When I make this in my house, for my family, or for anybody outside my family, they all love it. So, anyway, I'm gonna do this, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, friends, I have my oil and my butter heating up. I just rinsed the frying pan after I did this. I just rinsed it and dry it really good, because you don't want water mixed with oil. You will be making a mess. And once this is hot, we'll start frying the beef. I see people making this same recipe so many different ways, and I'm always intrigued how different recipes, one recipe can be made. And even in the same island where we came from, goes from village to village, is different. So you want to make sure this is completely hot. And then we're going to start frying these. And you just want to fry them until because they're very thin, doesn't take very long to cook. I remember as a kid, my mom used to do this when we killed a pig. So that was one job I liked to do it. So I used to cook them, and I used to wait for them to get brown. Because you don't need to wait for them to get brown. They're already almost cooked. All they need is just a little bit, maybe 3 minutes in each side, and they're done. Never forgot that. You know, those are the lessons when you're a kid, because I always wanted to do things the right way. And I thought they had to be like little brown. And I said, no, you don't need to have them brown, and just need a couple minutes in each side, because they're very thin. They cook real fast. So anyway, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna fry all these, and then I'll show you. And that's what you want. You want them a little golden, a little darker on the edges. And it's cooked. They're cooked. Just letting them get a little color on the other side. And keep adding more. And with that butter, it gets a good flavor. Okay. And it's done. And the juice that accumulates in here, you don't throw it away. Add it to your marinade. That marinade's gonna be your sauce. I didn't put no salt in these because my malagueta and my bell pepper sauce, it has enough salt. So we'll adjust when we do the sauce. And the oil I use, it's not just the good olive oil, no. You use a cheaper olive oil, not your good olive oil. You can use also canola oil. My mom used to use banya or pig fat that she would render. She would use that too. Okay, friends. So now, all that marinade, I'm gonna add it to the remainder of my. And I'm gonna add a little bit more water. And then I have some slivered garlic. I'm gonna add that to it. You want plenty of the sauce because I'm cooking some rice, so you want this, then you can put it over the rice. I'm going to taste for salt. I need some salt. I'm going to put half a teaspoon. I need more gravy, so I'm going to add more pepper and more wine. I'm going to add the rest of this pepper. It needs a little kick. Add the rest of this wine. This is white wine. That's fine. If our sauces don't have a little kick, it doesn't taste right. We came from an island that we need a little kick. We need a little bit of that spice. Shkurish, San Miguel. A little bit more salt. And I think our sauce is done. Look at this. So now, take this sauce and drizzle it over the Bifanas. I have some here for my friend. And then I got some for us. Here it is, friends. My beef with my rice. If you wanted to make a beef regional, you would put a fried egg on top. But since I'm watching my diet, I'm just gonna have this. This is what's gonna be for me for dinner. And the rice, this is buttered rice. So I cook my rice and then I put butter. So it's buttered rice. It goes so delicious with this. this and then a glass of wine, your perfect meal. And here you have an easy meal, delicious, beef a portuguesa with rice. Like I said, if you wanted a beef original beef, you would cook a fried egg and put it on top. But this is how my mom would do it. She would not put the egg on top. And we would have this a few times a year. But especially during Matanza, when we killed our pigs, we would always have this on the second day. I never forget. That was my favorite day. If it was not rice, it was French fries. Love that too. But these days, I'm trying to watch what I eat, so I go very small. So I have a little bit of rice. Anyway, you give it a try to this recipe. I already have a recipe for this bifana, but this was, like I said, was last minute. So I thought I would show you because I took the wrong meat out of the freezer. So I made this video because you don't have to marinate for overnight if you don't have the time. So give me some thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and share my videos on your social media with your friends. And I would really appreciate it. Until next time, let's get cooking. Have a good day.